Hi, today I'm going to show you how to make fabric flowers, and for this you just need three things. The first is a piece of fabric. Mine was off an old t-shirt, but it's about 2 inches wide, and your length will determine how wide your flower can be. So if you like it really long, you can always add some extra fabric to it, or if you just need a tiny little flower, you can cut it off too. Work with what you have. The next thing you're going to need is a backing for your flower. I just use a piece of felt, but you can also use fabric or even batting, whatever you have on hand. And then also some fabric adhesive. I prefer Fabric Tac by Beacon, but you can try whatever type of adhesive you have on hand. And the thing I like about the Fabric Tac by Beacon is that it is washable, so if you do put it on a garment or something like that, it's safe to go through the wash. So let's get started.
Okay, the first thing you're going to do is get some of that Fabric Tac, and you're going to put a little glob of it into the center of your felt. And then I'm just going to take my fabric and I fold it into a little point. This is going to be the center of the flower. And so I'll just continue to add some glue, and the whole basis of this flower is just twisting it around in a circle. And you can do it loosely or tightly. It'll give you completely different looks. So I'll just keep adding a little bit more glue and twisting. And you really don't need too much of the Fabric Tac. I've washed flowers and stuff that I've used with it, and it's come out really well. It hasn't fallen apart or anything. And I use a pretty minimal amount. But if you're going to be seriously, doing some rough flowers or anything to them, you can I'd probably tack it down with some stitches, sew it a little bit. Just give it a little bit more extra support, and keep it from falling apart. But the Fabric Tac works really well on its own. So I'll just keep going around in a circle like this, adding glue. And you know what? I've also done this with zippers and ribbons and other things like that. You can check out my website, erinbassett.com, to see some examples of those. But it's just fun to have a technique that you can try with a lot of different types of mediums. Okay, so now I'm down to the tail end of my fabric. I'm just going to add a little bit more glue and continue to twist it until I just have a tiny little bit left. Okay, so I just have this little bit of a tail, and I can turn it over and add some Fabric Tac onto the back of my piece and then just glue that down. And I hold it for a few seconds. Oop, there's a little bit of a tail right there. I'll just tuck that in. I still have some glue in there. So it's a pretty forgiving flower to make. Now you see I have this little bit right here that I need to trim off, so I just take my scissors and I undercut it a little bit so you're not able to see it, especially if I'm using a contrasting color. You don't want it to be seen, so just cut that part off and it's good to go.